For HR leaders, passing your certification in human resources is not the culmination of your career, but it's a stepping stone to greater and better things. It might mean an increase in salary, an increase in responsibility, or a new position where you're able to do more and grow in human resources. Today, I want to talk to you about weighted scoring when it comes to your HR certification exams. Weighted scoring is how many tests like the GRE or the SCT or the ACT score exams. It's also the way both HRCI and SHRM use to score your exams. So what is weighted scoring? What it is not every question is worth the same amount of points. And you're unsure when you take that exam which test questions that you answer correctly or incorrectly are worth more points. Now, why is this important? This is important because if you were like me, you might think about a strategy where you're focusing on answering only the questions that you know are right that count for the most points. But with weighted scoring, you don't know which ones those are. And both SHRM and HRCI throw a wrench into this thought process. Not only is weighted scoring meaning that we don't know which questions are worth more points than others, but HRCI and SHRM also have test questions in there that are pre-test questions. They don't count for anything at all. What I mean by that is both these HR certification bodies will throw in 30 test questions that they are testing out to see if they want to use these in future exams. So what that means is that you aren't sure, number one, how much the test each question is worth, and then number two, which one is actually a legit test question and which one is just a practice test question that counts for 0 points. So how you approach this is really that you read each question fully and you pick the best answer for each question. It's important when you take this exam to answer each question. And then if you aren't sure what the answer is, or you want to go back and spend a little bit more time, you can flag that question for later and go back towards the end and finish those questions. Now, when we're thinking about whether we pass or we don't pass both HRCI or SHRM, it's important to know that some tests ask more questions. So SHRM has 160 test questions, and 95 of those test questions are knowledge-based test questions, with the remaining 65 being test questions that are situational judgment questions. Now, I don't know for certain, but the situational judgment questions are likely more complex. There's a scenario or situation that's asked, and then there are several different questions that you have to work through and pick the best answer. So it's likely to assume, maybe, that the situational judgment test questions are worth more points. Now, with HRCI, the test questions, there's only 170. 170, not too bad. They don't differentiate between different question types like SHRM does. However, 30 of those questions are those practice test questions as well. So if you are taking the SHRM certification exam, this SCP or the CP, what does it mean to pass the exam? Well, it is weighted scoring, which means that you need a 200-point score to at least pass your exam. If you get below 200 points, you don't pass the exam, and you have to make the decision to retake the exam at a future date. Now, what about HRCI? Well, their scoring system is a lot different. Scores run between 100 and 700 for a perfect exam score. The passing rate for your PHR or SPHR exam with HRCI is a 500. So there you have it. You're learning about weighted scoring and how this impacts your exam. This is important for you to understand as you prepare for the exam and how you approach your exam testing come actual exam testing day. Now, whether or not you're taking your exam in a testing center or you're taking it at home with a remote proctor, this doesn't change the scoring process, but they're all things to consider as you build your test taking strategy and put your plan together to ace your HR certification exam. I'm Jessica Miller-Merrill, and I'm the founder of Workology, and I would love for you to tune in more to other courses and information on how to ace your HR exam by visiting workology.com.